Well, when I teach, record, and
for my God, a long time. And I'm gonna let him talk a little bit more about at the end of the program about his bio, his background, and things of that nature. But he is your current rank, sir, is in American Kempo. You are an 8th degree in American Kempo, if I read that correctly, and then 5th degree in Aikido, correct?
Correct.
And a sash, what was it, a black sash in Kung Fu, correct?
correct.
Right. So with that being said, I'm going to turn the program over to you. We'll be watching. We'll be helping you out. I wish you the best of luck, sir. And we'll be back on in 35 minutes, okay?
All right, great.
All right. It's all yours, bud. Enjoy.
All right.
Have fun.
Yes, sir.
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. We're going to do a little bit of combat cane techniques today. And even though the techniques are called combat cane, not all the canes are combat canes. I'm going to be using 3 different types of canes today. Traditional walking cane, this is called a derby cane, and this is more along the lines of a combat cane, and I'll explain more in detail about this once we get started. Okay. So the first, what we're going to do is we're going to work on some techniques that work against punch attack and some that work against grabs and holds. And Stacy and I will demonstrate some of the techniques against punches first. This is my assistant, this is Stacy Sullivan. She's a 3rd dan in Kempo, and she's going to help you. 4th dan, I'm sorry. Just got her rank. Just got her test not too long ago. Looking right at her belt, too. All right, Stacy. Thank you. All right. So the first technique we're going to work on is going to show how the cane can be used to affect the breathing of a person. And as the attack comes in, I'm going to strike low to the shin. Striking the kidneys, coming around to the neck, and placing my foot in her lower back and pushing. Shin, strike. One more time. Shin. Striking to the kidney, and then from here, pushing on the back to choke the person out. All right? I want to make sure everybody can see me. Good. Please come on this side again. Strike. Kidney. So if everybody would want to try that, I'll demonstrate slow one more time. As I step offline from the punch, I'm striking to the shin, a strike to the kidney to help buckle the back a little bit, and then the cane fits around the neck, foot goes into the small of the back, and pushes forward as you pull back on the cane. Everybody try that? I see some of you working with the cane when you come behind, you're using it in this manner. That'll work also, but the crook of the cane will give you greater distance to get a full extension of your leg in there so that you don't have to worry about the person throwing a punch or a kick as a counter for your technique. So I'll do it one more time. Strike. This gives me the distance back here so that I don't have to worry about her hitting me with a strike or throwing a kick. All right. Move up this way just a little bit. We're right there. All right. So let's go on to a different one. This one does a similar motion at the beginning where we step offline and let's strike to the groin. As you can see, I'm flipping this up into the groin in between the legs. And I'm going to trap the foot with my right foot. I'm going to trap her right foot. All I'm going to do is twist. And you'll see the takedown works kind of like a scissor takedown. So from here, strike to the groin. And then I can keep that person on the ground if I want to strike, continue my striking. From here, strike. Let's move back just a little bit. Just see this. There we go. Yep.
somebody has their mic on, can you please mute your mic, please?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me demonstrate that again. The most important thing is stepping offline and striking at the same time to the groin. So as the strike comes in, I step offline and protect myself, strike the groin, plant my right foot next to her right foot so she can't walk out of the technique, and then just give a twist. And this allows me to strike and keep the person on the ground so they can't get up and counter again. So if everybody wants to try that, we'll take a watch, right? All right, you want to change that back? Let me change it back. So I can see.
Oh, you can change it back.
Okay. All right. So there's different versions of blocking with the cane, and sometimes you have two hands on the cane. I might be ready as a person approaches, and I might be in an on guard position with the cane. And sometimes it flips up from here into that position. So we're going to work on something that works with both hands on the cane. And as the strike work comes in, I'm going to deflect here, and I'm going to strike to the throat with my fist. And all I'm going to do is use her shoulder as a lever, or as a fulcrum, and the cane is a lever. This is a strike to the throat. I rest the cane on the shoulder and lift. This is also used for not just a punch, but a person coming in with both hands as if they're going to choke you or grab you by the shirt. So I'll have Stacy attack like that this time, and it deflects both hands. This is a strike to the throat, and there's my throw. And of course, with any of the throws and the takedowns, you can keep the person on the ground by striking the shins, by striking the groin, the face, the head, the throat, depending on how much damage you want to do to your opponent. And as that attack comes in again, boom. You can see how that works. And that's very similar to like an Aikido type of technique where you'd be using empty hand would be this, right? And a ribinagi. So this is taking the place of this. Empty-handed version would be that, all right? But there's also a strike to the throat here with almost like a hammer fist. Boom. It helps take the person down. So off of a punch, and again, if you notice, a lot of the techniques off of a punch, you're stepping offline. That's helping you to defend because you're moving the cane in a circular motion. The punch is straight line, so obviously the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So as she comes in, I step offline to buy me some time, and that's what helps me get into this motion. So on this one here, both hands are on there, and this lock can be really hard, and then strike into the throat and take down. One more time. Both hands on the cane, block, strike, and take down. Everybody would like to try that? It is right. Block, go across the person's center line. So you don't want to be on the side of the neck that's closest to you. Go across. See how my arms are crossed? If you're on the other side, you won't be able to do the takedown because you won't get underneath the chin. And the main principle of the technique is your arm is under the chin, and when I lift, you can see what it's doing. You know, in Aikido, we talk about once you get the person's head to go past their heels, they're off balance, so you can take them that way. If I get her head to go past her toes, I can throw her forward. So when I get her head to go past her heels, very, very little effort on my part to be able to get that takedown in there. All right, let's take from this side. I'll demonstrate from this side one more time. I'll go through it slow from this side. Block, strike to the throat. You notice I'm across her throat, under the chin. All right, is everybody doing all that now? And I'm going to demonstrate some techniques using the derby cane. You can continue to use the cane that you have, but we'll use the derby cane to show you that it's just as effective. Now the derby cane is used, it's got an ergonomic grip here. It's supposed to be better for your grip ability and for using the cane. And you'll see a lot of canes that have this type of grip on it. You can also hook with this, as you can see the hooking part to this cane. It's kind of pointy, so if you do hook the neck, it digs in a little bit. But we're going to do a couple of techniques for some holds and grabs, and I'll demonstrate some other techniques as well, using it similar to what we did with the walking cane. All right, Stacy, grab the wrist. So Stacy's reaching across to grab my wrist straight across. I'm going to bring this over. This can be a strike to the side of the head as well on the way over if I want to do that. If I don't want to use the strike, I go right over and grab the cane with my hand, and I'm going to pull her hand to my hip. And you can see the lock that it has. If I turn it, it locks the arm more. And if I don't turn, I can slide the cane up and I can use the cane to the face. So again, she reaches out, she's grabbing the free hand, the cane flips over across her wrist, and I pull into my hip. Now the reason I'm mentioning pulling into my hip, if you think about your hip, you'll always do it consistently. You'll bring everyone's hand to the same spot. That way there, it doesn't matter how big the person is or how small they are. You'll do it consistently. And from here, this could be a strike to the head, pull in, and you can see how quickly she goes down. If I twist, if I don't want to do that, I can slide the cane and I can use that to strike to the face of the head. All right, or even come up here and hook the throat. See, it's on the other side.
Yep.
So from this angle, straight to the head, pull in, and I'm right across her wrist, right across the top of the wrist. And all I'm going to do is pull gently in towards my hip, and you can see the lock that I have. Stand up, Stace. And she's frozen there. She's trying to stand up and she can't stand up. So I have a good wrist lock on her right now. And again, this is an Aikido principle, and I kind of incorporated it into the cane. From here, now this strike can even be low. If I want to strike the inside of the leg or the outside of the leg, I can strike the ribs or the elbow with it. Anywhere in there as a distraction. From here, I'm going to strike inside the thigh this time. Come up to here, right across the back of the wrist. Kind of roll it and pull in towards your hip. And you can see that lock that it provides. Okay? And then I can strike. I'll do it one more time real slow. You notice I'm grabbing the cane over here with my other hand. Right? And sometimes what you can get on this is you can get the palm, or her palm, to lay flat up against your hip. And that gives you a little bit different type of lock as opposed to resting it, and boom, but it opens up the face and the head for striking. Boom. Or I can even go to the throat, because this end can be used like a hammer. Boom. Right? And that's the advantage of the derby cane, is you have two ends. So if I wanted to, I can use it. I can use it to strike here. I can strike here. I can strike with this end of it, and so on and so forth. So the striking points for a cane, no matter if you're using a walking cane or a derby cane, the striking points are the ends, the tips of the shaft itself, the crook, inside and outside. This can be used this way. It can be used this way to strike, anywhere in the body. So you have all different parts of the cane that you can strike with. All right. How's everybody doing with that part? Give me a split screen.
Yep.
All right. So all I see is Mr. Suggs in my picture. That's awesome, brother. I love it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a different technique. This time I'm going to be in that position, that resting position, or that on guard position that I was in before. And my opponent's going to see that, you know, she might be approaching me and I bring the cane up, like I'm getting ready to either strike or do something with the cane. And she latches onto the cane itself. So now she has the end of the cane about 4 or 5 inches from the end of the cane. All I'm going to do is I'm going to trap her hand on there, and I'm going to step back with my right foot. And as I step back with my right foot, I'm going to take the point of the tip of the cane and point it right at her center line. And I put her in a lock called Nikyo, if anyone who studies Aikido. So I'm holding on to the cane in this position. She grabs the end of the cane. I grab her hand. I step back with my right foot. point the cane, the tip of the cane right at her center line, and draw right down the center of the body like you're trying to split the body in half. Do it slow though, because you have the hand trapped here, and it's in a very awkward position for the wrist, a lot of pressure on the wrist. Stand up, and you can see she's pinned to the ground, she can't move. And I'm using very little energy to keep her there. She grabs the cane, I trap her hand, I'm going to step back with my right foot, point the tip of the cane at the center of her body, and draw a straight line down the center of the body. Just do it very slow. If you go too fast, you could tear this technique's made to tear the ligaments in the wrist. So you want to go very, very slow with it. Again, stand up. And you can see she's trapped there. So here are the key parts. Trap the hand, circular motion, step back with the right, and gently press down. All right, in the position, again, empty hand translation for that would be this. So empty hand translation is she's grabbing my wrist, I trap her hand, and you notice what I'm doing with my shuto is I'm pointing my fingers right at her center line, just like the tip of the cane. And now I draw a straight line down. Okay, stand up, and I can keep her trapped there. Okay. To do, severe damage to the wrist, you would do this very fast. That'd be a very quick cutting motion, and you would probably do damage to the ligaments and the tendons of the wrist. All right. So if you want to try that, we'll watch. Give us our screen again. If you remember years ago, there was a style of study called cane masters. And this is one of their canes. These canes were designed to inflict as much pain as possible, a lot of pain compliance with some of their techniques. This cane has some ridges on here that are called shark's teeth. It also has some grooves cut into the handle that you can use for gripability. If you look at the tip of it, it comes to like a point. So it's got a very, very nasty point. That's why I don't use this when I do the techniques around the throat, because I don't want this to dig into the throat on my partner. But it's got all sorts of ways that it's set up, and they had a wide variety of exotic woods. They were using maple and all sorts of oak and ash and so on and so forth. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple of other hold and grab techniques. This will be for a front choke. And we're going to take, the cane's here. So again, this can be I can do a little strike to the leg. I can do a strike to the groin with it. There's different ways to break the person's concentration and attention as to what they're doing. I'm going to strike to the side of the knee with it this time, and I'm going to come up and over the top, and I'm going to go right into the bends of the arm and strike down very hard. And you see what it does? It brings the face forward, and that sets the face up for a cross strike. All right, and that could be to the throat, that could be to the lips, the bridge of the nose, it could be to the forehead. All right, bridge of the nose or the mouth is probably the two best areas. I don't like to do a lot of strikes to the throat because of the dangers of possibly killing somebody. It doesn't take much pressure to kill someone with a strike to the throat. You also have to remember that when you're doing any type of choke technique, front chokes or back chokes, you have about 3 to 4 seconds to react before you start to become incapacitated. So this has to be something that is practiced so that it becomes very reflex-like, boom, and striking. Right? I'm going to show you 3 different ones, and I'll have you practice all 3. They're all very similar. So the first one that we're doing now comes over the top, strikes right near the bend of the arm, striking down, pulling the hands away from the throat, brings the face forward. Be real careful with your strike, you don't smash each other in the face. All right. The second one comes over the top. I strike here, but as it comes over the top, I weave this in between and I hook the arm. Now we're going to use the crook of the cane. So I'm on the back of the elbow on this side, and I've hooked the arm here, and you can see what it's doing. So I'm going to strike the side of the thigh, I weave the cane, I hook the arm on one side, I'm behind the elbow on the other side, and that'll give me a throw. So again, my initial move is a strike to the side of the leg, right where you get a Charlie horse. Right? The cane hooks, lifts, see where I am? Elbows here, and right in back of the elbow. And what it's doing is it's twisting the body, brings one arm down and the other arm up, which creates that off balance with the shoulders. So I do my initial strike here, I weave the cane in, and as I hook that arm, I have that throw. Right, one more time. So I strike, weave, and here's the release. The main thing is, whether I get a throw or not's not important. The main thing is getting her hands off of my throat so I can breathe properly. So that's the first two, so I'll do them again. So the first one comes up, strike the face. Second one, strike low, weave the cane, get the person off. And the third one, I want you to think about the motion of the cane I just did. I come up over the top like this. What if you're in an area and there's a wall right here, and I can't get that circular motion with the cane? I can't get it for either one. I can't get it to weave it. I can't get it to come over the top. I'm up against the wall. I might be in an elevator, right? A small condensed area. This time, instead of going up over the top, I'm going to grab the cane in this position. I'm going to strike both elbows. And this is a real shot to the elbows. Strike to the elbows and a strike into the sternum, the chest. Right? So from here, this comes up and smashes both elbows, draws all the attention down there, boom, and then a strike to the sternum. So we flip up this way. This eliminates the motion of having to come over the top. If I don't have the room, it allows me to come up under the elbows and strike. And now it puts the person in a position where I can do other things and use the cane to get them off of me and not come back. So the three techniques: over the top, boom, strike the face, strike low, weave, hook one elbow, come back to the other elbow, and get rid of the person. And the third technique, flip the cane up to this double grip, smash both elbows, boom, strike. Just be real careful when you hit each other on the elbows, because it's such a, if you hit the funny bone area in here, right, and you smash that, person's hands are going to go numb. On the street, that's fine, but for practicing today, one more time. So I flip this up to here, and I give a good jolt here. And this is a strike that puts me in position now to do other things and to get on guard. Right? So if you want to try all three, try as much as we can. This is going to be for a punch. One of the things I always tell my students when we're working with weapons, and we work with a lot of weapons in my dojo because of my kung fu background and my Japanese martial arts background, I tell them never forget about the other parts of their body. So in other words, the cane is not the only thing I should be using on a technique. I should be using other parts. In other words, when a punch comes in, I can still use empty hand to block it. So we go back to this cane here. So as Sensei Stacy punches in, I'm gonna block and strike the elbow. I'm gonna come up underneath, and I'm gonna put the arm into this position. Now, I want you to watch again how I get to that position. When I block and strike, I'm gonna come up and bend the arm. Notice that my palm is facing me. So the hand that grabs here is facing me. I'm going to step into her center, and I'm going to pretend I'm just taking a left-hand turn with a big wheel. Now I have the arm locked, so the cane is still making like a figure 4 lock with the cane. And all I'm going to do is take my right foot, step into her center, and step back with my left foot. Go real slow with the throw, okay? Damage can be created to the elbow with this, ligaments and so on. And again, this is another jolt shot, boom, right to the elbow. And then the arm, notice again, this palm up here, this palm is facing me, so you don't want to grab this way because she can slide her hand out. Right? She'll escape that block. So block, strike, come up here and lock. You notice I have the arm bent past 90 degrees. I'm going to step into her center, and I'm going to take a left-hand turn. Step in the center with your right foot, slide your left foot back. And you can see where I have that lock. I still have the lock on her, and if I want to, I can place the cane around her neck. You can't see that part from here with the camera view. I can place the cane right across her throat, and I can push the cane forward and pull back, and it'll choke her out. All right, so I'll do that one slow again, because that one's that has a few more moves to it than some of the other techniques. Just an outward block, a knife block, a shuto block. Straight to the elbow, come up and lock that arm in. Step into their center line, because you're stepping into their space. See, watch what happens when I step. Watch your shoulders. It starts to off balance already, and I haven't even moved the cane yet. All I did was move my body. So now when I step back with my left foot, I take the bottom of the cane and lift it up. That's what creates the throw. Practice that. I'll watch real quick. We'll use this as a block, or it can even be resting against your body. Almost like if you study any type of Filipino martial arts, they have those with the sticks. So the reason I'm bringing this block up, we're not going to use this as a block, but it's going to be a technique that we're going to use to go into the next move. This way a little bit. So we're going to start off the same way as the last technique, with the same block and the same initial strike. A block and a strike to the elbow. Now here comes that block that looks like a block, and I'm going to hook under her neck. And again, all I'm going to do is step into her center line and step back with my left foot. When you do this technique on each other, please go slow, because you're right across the throat with the cane. As the person falls, I release the pressure with the cane so they don't fall and the cane doesn't hit them in the throat. So as the punch comes in, I lean offline, I smash the elbow. Here's that technique. I'm leaning. It's across her throat, but it's under her chin. Now step back with the left foot, and there's your throw. Again, go real slow. And again, the cane is still across her throat, and I have her arm trapped. You can see where her hand is right here. If I pull her arm back and push the cane forward, it goes right across her throat. You can hear it tapping. So I can do a choke out with the cane from here while she's on the ground. Lean, strike. There's that motion with the cane, go up under the chin. And you're gonna, see how the arm is right here? You're using the arm as the fulcrum now. So as I lift the cane up, right, by pulling back on the crook, that's where you get your throw. One thing I want to point out, if you notice my grip on the cane, when you're practicing defensive techniques, don't hold the cane up here, because now I can't move it. I'm very limited as to how I can swing that cane, but I slide it down off the crook. Okay, some people call it a hook. The real name for it is a crook, but I slide my hand down so I can maneuver the cane into different motions and be able to use it as a weapon. So one more time, please. Block, strike. Here's that motion. Come up under the chin. We'll do it one more time from this way, and then we'll watch. Same strike. Step in with your left foot to give yourself some space. And now all I'm going to do is small step into her center. I don't have to step in a lot. Again, watch her body when I step in. Starts to move. Now step back with the left. Do it slow one more time. All right, let's see. Real quick, seated position. Thank you. All right. So you want to bring it back up on full screen?
Oh, yeah.
So you can see that? I'll demonstrate real quick. All right. So let's see. So, seated position. Normally in a seated position, you have your cane here, or it's usually across the lap, and we can do the technique that we did before, where she grabs my cane, and I reach up and I go from here. I go into the lock. Or I'm here and she grabs my hand. She's trying to pull me out of the seat. And you can see where I have her. So yeah, a lot of the techniques can be translated into those standing position. You can do them from a seated position. You could even do, if you wanted to, she throws a punch, and the one that we did standing before. So you can translate them, transition them rather, right into the seated position technique. Any other questions? Let's see. Real quick, seated position. Jim, have you gone?
Thank you.
All right. So you want to bring it back up on full
Oh,
screen?
yeah.
So I can see what we have? I'll demonstrate real quick. All right. Let's see. So, seated position. Normally in a seated position, you have your cane here, or it's usually across the lap, and we can do the technique that we did before, where she grabs my cane, and I reach up and I go from here. I go into the lock. Or I'm here and she grabs my hand. She's trying to pull me out of the seat. And you can see where I have her. So yeah, a lot of the techniques can be translated into those standing position. You can do them from a seated position. You could even do, if you wanted to, she throws a punch, and the one that we did standing before. So you can translate them, transition them rather, right into the seated position technique. Any other questions? Let's see.